this is Brent in Arkansas. We're going to do another grow. It's been a little while since I've grown radish, quite some time actually. So we're going to try the Rainbow Purple again. Alright, I'm out here at my grow rack. I've got one of these racks. It's got 5 shelves on it. It's got lights affixed to it to grow up underneath here, providing light down to both microgreens and lettuce, depending on whichever ones I want to use for the rack. I've got my 1-inch mesh tray here and my medium screen. This is food grade polypropylene, approved for food and beverage by the FDA screen. What I'm spraying here is my super anti-fungal. The recipe, I have a video on it with the recipe, and I also sell it if you're interested in not doing it yourself. We've got the Rainbow seed here, 75 grams. I'm going to show spreading it. This is a lot of seed. The density is quite dense compared to a lot you may see, and that's okay because of the way I grow. It's called IHG, Intense Hydroponic Grows, after my book, Microgreens, Intense Hydroponic Grows. A link to my book is in the store if you're interested in that. I also sell these as kits if you don't want to do it yourself. The book tells you how to build, not particularly this version, but a version. This is the 2nd generation. And I'm rambling, so I'm not spreading the seed efficiently because I'm rambling and talking to you. Actually, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm talking to the air and recording myself, thinking about who may be watching it. So that's it. That's all the seed. Now I'm going to spray it with the super antifungal again. This not only wets it, but it also it starts the germination process. This antifungal will sink in the seed and not only provide a measure of protection against any fungus that could start, but also start the germination process. Now with this antifungal, I use it once a day, and just about the amount you see right there. And I do it until I take the blackout dome off. And when I take the blackout dome off, there's no more spray. So it gets about 3 or 4 days of antifungal spraying, about that much. So that stuff lasts a good while, and it's a great preventative. A lot of people have said how good it is. So all I need to do now is set it in the assembly, put the blackout dome on it, and we're good to go. I did forget to mention that I put a bit over a gallon worth of nutrient water. I use Master Blend in the reservoir below. And so that way, this is a hydroponic grow, so there's no dirt or fertilizer other than the hydroponic fertilizer. Alright, the only things left to do is to put the cover on and the blackout dome on. And we'll check it every day, see how she's doing. Until tomorrow. This is my current temperature in here and humidity level. This is somewhat common. It's a tad on the warmer side, but I grow regularly in these temperatures. come back tomorrow. Quite warm in here today. Air conditioner can't keep up. So this is what I came out to today. You can see the lid's lifted, so obviously the cover is tilted, and that's what it looks like. So now what we're going to do is we're going to let this continue to grow without a cover and without a lid, without a dome, blackout dome on it. No more spraying of the anti-fungal. And that's the temperature in here right now. It's the hottest part of the day, and we're at 89 degrees. That is really warm. That is too warm to grow. And micros can take it for a short period of time, but they can't take it consistently that hot. My air conditioner just can't keep up with this heat. That one. That's the microgreens today. No antifungal. I'm not going to do anything but check the water level. I got to add a little bit. You can see they popped up a lot since yesterday, and at this point they're starting to drink heavily. Now I wanted to show you how hot it is in here, and I get this question a lot. What does the temperature of the room need to be where you grow them? And for the most part, if you can keep it around 75, that's fairly ideal for all microgreens, but it can take, a lot of microgreens can take higher temperatures. And in fact, they germinate well at 80 to 85 of most of them, but you can't sustain that as a constant that high because lots of other things like temperatures that high and humid, and disease is what I'm talking about. So let me show you my current temperature. So that's it today. Again, this is about 5 in the afternoon, and it gets this warm for the hottest part of the day. It's this warm, but then it gets a chance to cool down to the 80s and below at night, which is probably why I'm having some success with this. Another part is that it's radish, and radish are dead easy to grow. The interior lighting inside the grow room here, besides the shelf lighting, is all off right now. It's on a timer, and I give the LED lights 2 1-hour breaks during the day, or during the time period that they're on during the day. So this is what it looks like now, and they've got some significant height on them, which is good. I like that. That helps with easy harvesting. And because of that also, you can take now and just move it across, move it like this, jostle it around, and some of these smaller microgreens that don't have a lot of cotyledon growth right now, they can come on, they'll see the light and they'll try to push up, and what ends up happening is we have this canopy that extends beyond a 10-20 tray by an inch or two all the way around. So that is one of the secrets to getting a bigger harvest. A little bit more seed density, spreading them out as they grow a little taller, and yeah, letting them get nice healthy cotyledon leaves. You can only do that in IHG. It's harvest day. This rainbow radish. For this grow of rainbow radish, I tried to show how easy it is to grow using IHG and how much time it takes. It's literally just seconds, once a day. There's a little bit more obviously at harvest time because you gotta, well, harvest, but it's really super easy to do, and it's absolutely clean. There's no media, there's nothing that you have to clean out. All you got to do is just harvest, and because it's where I grow them, and a lot of you may grow, the environment's going to be pretty clean to begin with because it's probably not outdoors. So the product doesn't need to be washed or anything before you ship it, especially if you're a marketer or you sell to restaurants or something like that. They're going to clean it anyway. So before I harvest it, I'm going to take it out of the assembly here, the screen itself with the micros attached to it, like I always do. Present my carpet. That'll become clear in just a second if you're new. And then I'm going to put it in a display tray and just kind of show you what it looks like. Okay, this is the carpet I was talking about. And because the roots penetrate through the screen, they're attached, and they can take a good bit of abuse. I'm going to use this as the harvest again, and I wanted to show you the screen here. I'm not going to get too terribly close this time. There's no mold. There's almost never any mold the way I grow here. And this is the tray. Now I left the majority of the assembly in there, and I just slipped out the top part here, the grow tray, and just put it in this so I could carry it out here. So, okay, let me put it on display, and I'll show you what that looks like. What I'm trying to do here is display what it looks like across the stems at an angle that also includes the canopy or the cotyledons. And how I did that is I just took a shallow tray and cut the edge out here. I also did it likely because I'll be using some of these as a snapshot for my website, because I'm going to start selling these kits again the late part of August. So if you're interested, let me know. Alright, I've got the microgreen carpet draped over the harvesting rack here. It's a rinse and harvest rack I made. There's a video on that if you want to look that up. But so I get asked this question quite a bit, and that is, are the screens reusable or do you have to buy new? Because I mean, they're not cheap if you're going to use it as a renewable, something you constantly use. In other words, something it's a one-time use. No, these are food grade, FDA approved screening that's essentially the same material as like a dehydrator mesh, and they're made to be used over and over and over, and they could even be washed in the dishwasher. Of course, when I do that, I have to put trays on either side of them so they don't collapse. But yeah, it's I've been using a lot of the same ones for, I don't know, 10, 11 months now. So they are reusable, but they're not super durable, meaning that you can stretch it out of, if you pull and yank it too hard. Like when I pulled it out, I got to be kind of gentle when I pull that out, because this weighs probably 1.5 pounds or more, and pulling like if I were to grab with my 2 fingertips in a small area or small space, could stretch it out. It usually doesn't, but usually what gets me is when I first started was when I take the scissors, I cut too close. I mean, scissors will cut right through it like butter. That's a problem. Also, if you're going to clean the screens, if you have some sort of debris like a seed hole underneath the screen and you're scraping the top like I do sometimes, what happens is that little seed creates a bump, and then you scrape and it hits that bump and it could tear a little piece of the screen. I've done that before too, but other than that, it's pretty simple to, you know, with a little bit of care, these things will last forever. It's really simple. So let's get started on this harvest. We call it the rack harvest, and I start here at the crown. I'm going to speed you up. Okay, we're done. This is quite a large tray of microgreens. We're going to get a weight on it now. I wanted to talk about the screen cleaning because I get that question quite a bit too. So we're going to set this aside for just a moment. I'm going to take this screen and I'm going to show you how easy it is to clean after I take this microgreens here. Okay, cleaning the screen is really easy. In fact, you can see here it's coming up. You just take your fingers, not using your nails necessarily, but the tips. Most of the time when you harvest, you don't need to scrape it. Most of the time what I do is I do what I'm doing right now, and then I take it over to the hose and I use a jet stream. Put this on top of something and just spray it off. Sometimes you'll get the screen that looks like it's stained, but washing that takes the stain right out, especially if you soak it in a mild bleach solution, like when you sanitize your trays. You can sanitize your screens, that's fine. They can handle it. So then, once I do that, just take it over and rinse it. You can pop this. I don't want to sling it on my clothes. You can pop the screen, but be careful not to hold on and create a stretch area. You can pop it and that'll knock a lot of it loose, or you could bang it on something. Again, I don't want to get it on my clothes, that's why I'm not doing it this time. I've got lots of videos where I do that. If you pop it on top of something, not super aggressively, but like this, it'll take almost the majority of that out, and a simple rinse will take it out. Also, if you're doing this in the house, once you do this part, you can take it in the house and you can take one of those nylon scrubbers. They have a nylon side on one side and foam on the other. You just take the nylon side with a little dish detergent and just rub it across here like this, and it becomes perfectly good for another use. Alright, so let's get these weighed. Just thought of another thing, another question you guys get, and I've answered it many times. If your microgreens are moist and you want them, because you're dealing with a hydroponic environment here, and moisture is not the enemy in IHG. Moisture is perfectly fine, and you're going to see that sometimes your microgreens are a little bit damp. Well, the problem with mold and disease is that it's not the moisture, it's the mold and disease. So if you, in fact, I've had microgreens grow in the reservoir, directly in the reservoir. They don't get big because they don't have light, but what I'm saying here, moisture and lack of fans does not create disease. It may help mitigate soil growing types, where you can't plant as densely and stuff like that, but with IHG is not your enemy. Keeping the disease and mold out is how you do it. And you start off with the preventative antifungal for a few days, and then you bring it into the light. And by that time, the microgreens are pretty hardy. They've got good size on them, as you've seen in the video, and they're capable of dealing with anything. And over and over and over and over, I show grows where the trays there's no problem whatsoever, and the microgreen roots look healthy, and the microgreens themselves look healthy. There's not hardly any videos. There may be one or two in the beginning when I was learning and stuff like that, or maybe a new crop where I'm trying to figure it out or something like that. But there's hardly any videos. Almost every grow that I do, I show you. So I don't have a whole lot of grows and just showing you my success. It's just they're almost all a success right out the gate. Even brand new ones I've never grown before, and I make a couple assumptions about the density and and how long to keep them in the dark and all that. So this is a super dead easy, super simple way to grow. And if you have any questions, my email's in the description. If you have any comments, I'll answer all comments. In fact, comment. I love comments. So now I've rattled on. I'm going to get an empty tray, so I get a measurement so I can tear out or zero out the scale, and then we'll actually get a weight on this. The tripod was already set up, so I thought I'd show you. Alright, I've got this setting. It's a little 3 here. I've also got a single. I think either one of them will work. It's just you need some sort of pressure here. I hold it. Like that. I want to make sure and get any seeds, especially hard seeds. For some microgreens, the seeds are hard. I'm going to get the majority of that off. I set it there for a second. This is a paint tool. It's an edger where you can put it against a baseboard and paint and not get it on the wall. Then I take and just do this. Give it another squirt. Alright, off. There's a very minor amount left. I just wanted to show you that's how easy it is to clean these. And of course there's water trapped in between the little holes on the screen, but yep, it's almost all gone. I'll finish that up later, so now we'll get to the weigh. Got my scale here. I'm going to turn it on. I put a glass on it. That is so I can elevate the tray, and so you can still read the readout. Let me make sure that that's possible. I'll move you back just a little bit here. Okay, so now I've got that empty tray, which is the same exact one as the microgreens are in. There's 9 grams of difference. Citing on the error of caution for the weigh. In other words, it's 9 grams heavier than what the weight's going to say. So we zero that out. So now the scale's 0. That way, when I put this tray on there, you're getting the actual weight of nothing but microgreens. And that is 29.4 ounces. 834 grams. That's 29.4 ounces. At, I don't know what they get for, I know there's marketers in the group. We've got about, I think 350 or more people in the group right now, and a lot of people sell at markets and chefs and do all kinds of stuff like that, and they answer a lot of these questions that I have, and they answer if you guys want to buy the book and join the group and see the unlisted videos as well. You can do that. There's a lot of value in that $19.95 price for the book. Consultations with me, I answer things in depth, and then we have a lot of people that grow at, like I said, markets or grow for chefs. Anyway, back to what we were saying here. That's 29.4 ounces. So if you get, that's 30 ounces. So if you break it into two ounce packages, that's 15 packages, and each package gets $5. I don't know, whatever that is, 60 bucks for that tray. So that easily covers the price of a book, and almost the price of a book and a kit. For something, other types of micros, it's definitely more than that. What else? What was I going to say? I had another question I was going to answer. So I've got a microgreens weight kit here. Keep things in that. So yeah, I guess we'll end this video. I can tell you that the website's going to be developed here. I've got a website coming, and that'll probably be out in the next couple months. I'm talking with the designers daily, several times a day actually. That'll make ordering a lot easier. So like I said, I do make these kits, and there'll be probably 2 or 3 different versions of the kits, and I do the lettuce kits and all that as well. Now I didn't do that because I'm trying to make a ton of money. That it developed naturally is what happened. About 3.5 years ago, I started growing microgreens on my own. Forgive the deck there. That's I'm redoing the deck. I figured it'd be better to talk to you in front of my face. So I started growing microgreens probably about 3.5 years ago, and I was already well involved with hydroponics. So it was a natural extension for me to grow hydroponically, because one of the things I enjoyed about hydroponics was I didn't have to mess with soil and all the additives and the various things to make plants grow. You feed the soil, you feed the plant, that sort of thing. Well, with hydroponics, you don't have to do that. And so it was a natural extension for me to start with hydroponics. Well, I started with hydroponics paper towels, and I started with window screens, and ended up finally, based on your people's suggestions and concerns about not having food grade materials, I ended up migrating all the way that way. Well, all along I was answering questions. How do you do this? How do you do that? I created a PDF. The PDF was constantly getting updated, and I was constantly, well, I wasn't able to express the updates unless somebody asked for it. So finally, after a couple years, I wrote the book. And when I did the book, it shows how to do complete build and assembly and do all that sort of thing. The exact same thing you're seeing here, first generation. And people were telling me after they're reading the book, do you sell kits? Do you sell these pre-made? And so I started out first just selling screen. I said, well, I'll try it on a trial basis. And this conversation developed within the group, and so I started selling screens, and that was a smash. I was overwhelmed. And then people started asking me if I would sell kits, pre-made kits already, so they didn't have to do it, because, you know, some people, they'd rather pay to just have it shipped to them than do it themselves, and I understand that. I'm a do-it-yourselfer, but a lot of people don't like to do things themselves. They'd rather just pay for it because their time is money, or they're not capable, or whatever the reason. And so I started selling or creating kits. And when I started doing that, I started noticing little tweaks and little things to improve or what have you. And so it grew from first generation kits, or assembly is what I call it in the book, IHG assembly, to the second generation. And it just moved on and on. And then I got so overwhelmed with doing that and trying to figure out how to ship to people and how people to pay for it and all that kind of thing, that I said, well, I need to simplify the processes as much as possible or get out of it completely. There was 2 people that were interested in partnering with me over time that would have helped. They were in different cities, both of them. I found that to be more difficult, and I was really leaning towards just getting out of it completely, just let the book talk for itself. But the helping people and the constant questions of helping people, coupled with the fact that I was trying to streamline everything as much as possible so I could get it to people and make money on it. I'm not going to lie to you, I wouldn't do it if I wasn't going to make money on it. That's the whole point of capitalism, isn't it? I said, well, after the last potential partnership, I thought, well, why don't I just give that a go? So what's happening now is that I'm simplifying the answering questions by creating a website with frequently asked questions. I'm simplifying ordering, which allows people to pay for with different currency other than just PayPal. You can pay by credit card, in other words. And I'll have pictures up, and people don't have to email me back 3 and 4 times, because they can see the kit, and then click on it, and it'll show and talk about everything, and I'll have the frequently asked questions. So that takes a ton of my time and frees it up. So I don't know if that's something I'm going to continue to do, but I'm going to give it a go. I had the website, and I'm looking at a payment merchant and a shipping merchant and just all the mess that's involved with creating a small business. And I really feel like you guys drove it. It was you guys that drove me here because Gina and I are retired and we like to travel. And in fact, we're going to Port Aransas in a couple months for 2 or 3 weeks. We'll see how long that goes, just to get away, you know, with this COVID mess. And by the way, stay safe out there. So we want to get out, and I've been busy constantly doing screens and antifungal lately. I quit making kits about a month ago so I could catch up with a lot of other work that I've let slide, including what you see here, the deck. That's a promise I made to my wife Gina, that I would finish this deck this year by spring. Well, look what time it is. And so it's late summer or midsummer. Anyway, obviously I didn't get to that. So things are sliding, but at the same time the business is growing, and it's now a business. My wife does taxes in her spare time, or when tax season comes around, and it's actually labeled as a business because I'm selling and paying taxes and all that kind of stuff on it. So it developed into something that I did not ever envision. And I thought about growing microgreens and selling them, but then you gotta, you know, you run into possible litigation with food products or spoilage or just who knows whatever else. So I've never been really interested in that. There are a lot of people in the group that that do sell in various formats, and there's especially probably about 5 guys and gals there that just constantly chime in and helping people and answering questions and whatnot. So I really appreciate it. Thank you guys. You know who you are. So at the group as well, it's a very friendly group, and I don't tolerate any name calling or anything like that, and it's never ever happened anyway. People are awesome. I think it's because they're gathered around a central topic or a central desire. So yeah, boy, I'm rambling on, aren't I? So I guess this video is going to be me and why I'm growing microgreens. I guess that's what I should label it instead of radish. And I didn't intend that either. But I've been sitting here talking to you for I don't know how long, 20 minutes or something. You can look at the time and tell me. But I am genuine. I absolutely have integrity. I despise people who deceive to try to get your money or elevate themselves or something like that. My career in the military, I think, helped set that foundation. So I love talking to people. I love pictures and video of what people are doing. So if you want to share what you're doing or you want to talk to me about something, I will talk to you through email, through the group. Just keep in mind that I get well over 100 emails a day, so I can't spend a lot of hours doing that. So if you're in the group, guys, for you that are in the group, target my name, or if you just want to email me, don't expect super prompt responses. Although a lot of times when I'm having coffee in the morning, I have a couple cups of coffee in the morning, and I do sleep to sometimes 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I have coffee, and that's all I do, and answer questions and talk to people. I'm pretty straightforward. I hope my tone doesn't come across as being a jerk, but I'm pretty straightforward because I don't believe in beating around the bush. If you're going to do this, you should note everything absolutely truthfully, and it's not fail-proof, that's for sure. And I've not grown in soil or cocoa. The only experience I have with that is watching other people's videos. So with IHG, the harvest weights are always pretty solid. The brassicas like radish and kale and broccoli and all that, they're typically a 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds plus. Different varieties will pop that weight up really high. I've got beets and chard, which is the most difficult microgreen to grow, and I've got that way up to where they're almost normal as other microgreens. Almost 1.5 pounds. I think the biggest one was a chard at 23.5 ounces. I got videos on that and how to do that. The beet and chard is going to be in the upcoming second edition of the book. It's been, by the time it comes out late this year, having to move that back because of everything going on, but by the time that comes out, it'll be almost 2 years since the first book was written. And so another thing that'll be in there is mucilage seeds, your arugula and your cress and your basils. Those are difficult to grow hydroponically, but I know how to do it, and I'll share that in the book. I'm trying to think. There's one, what is that seed that I've tried that I don't like it? It's nasturtium. I don't like it. It really, really stinks when you soak it. It is, the seed, if you call it a seed, it's almost like a bulb. It like melts. And so that's one that I think I've tried to grow it 2 times, maybe 3 times. I think only 2 times. And that is just an absolute no. I'm not going to do that. But I don't see where people are growing them as microgreens anyway. They tend to grow them in pots and let them get bigger to flower or whatever. But that said, the reason why I said that is there's almost nothing that I can't grow in hydroponically. And if you're here and if you've done some research, you've read, and they're still on all the major sites, how to grow the various seeds, and they say don't grow this hydroponically, or you'll help people say you can't grow it hydroponically. Well, I'm here to tell you, watch my videos. I can grow almost everything hydroponically, and I don't do it well. I don't even do it good. I do it outstanding, and it's super clean. It's all food grade. So yeah, it's about me, but it's also the truth about what I do and the value that this could bring to you if you want to go down this path with me. So that's enough, I guess. My wife, she opened the door while we were talking, and she had a plate of food, and she was going to say dinner's ready. But she heard me talking, and she knows I'm videoing. She knows I do this all the time. So I've got food in there getting cold. So I'm going to let you guys go. This is Brent. Till next time. See you later.